Welcome to my channel, Hotspot with Loveth, the ultimate spot for all things entertainment, ranging from celebrity gists, reviews, interesting stories, and African folktales. Subscribe now. In this story, Maurice is playing the role of Nkame and Sonia Uche is playing the role of Adobe. Now, let's dive in. Nkame and Adobe were the epitome of a modern Nigerian love story. Meeting at a mutual friend's wedding, their chemistry was undeniable from the start. Both successful in their careers, Nkame as a software engineer and Adobe as a fashion influencer, they quickly became the power couple everyone admired. Their social media profiles showcased their love, from romantic dinners to exotic vacations, creating a picture-perfect image that garnered thousands of likes and comments. As Adobe's fashion influence grew, so did her online following. Brands began to notice her, and soon she was signing endorsement deals and collaborating with top designers. Nkame was incredibly supportive, often appearing in her posts and even helping her with the technical aspects of managing her online presence. However, with her rising fame came the first strains on their relationship. Adobe's time was increasingly consumed by photoshoots, brand meetings, and the constant need to engage with her followers. Nkame noticed a shift in their relationship. Ada was always on her phone, even during their personal time. At dinner, her eyes were more often glued to her screen than meeting his. Their conversations became shorter, often interrupted by the ping of notifications from Instagram, Twitter, or a new email. What used to be their time to connect after a long day at work had transformed into Adobe's constant battle to stay relevant online. Nkame tried to be supportive. He understood the demands of Adobe's career and appreciated her success, but he couldn't shake the feeling of being sidelined. He missed their late-night talks, the spontaneous laughter, and the quiet moments of just being together without distractions. The phone, once a tool for connecting with her followers, had become a barrier between them. The first cracks in their marriage appeared as arguments about Adobe's online activities became more frequent. "Can you put your phone down for a minute?" Nkame would plead, frustration evident in his voice. Adobe, defensive, would argue that her online presence was crucial for her career and that Nkame should understand. Nkame felt increasingly isolated, as if he was competing with Adobe's virtual world for her attention. His attempts to discuss his feelings were often met with dismissive comments or promises to do better, which rarely resulted in change. The gap between them widened, filled with unspoken resentments and unmet needs. Each unresolved argument chipped away at the foundation of their relationship, leaving both feeling hurt and misunderstood. The love they once shared felt strained, overshadowed by the relentless demands of the digital world. While Adobe was busy building her brand, Nkame found solace in his own online world. Initially, it was just a way to pass time and connect with others who shared his interests. He joined various online communities related to tech, sports, and even a few lifestyle forums. The anonymity and ease of online interactions were appealing, offering a distraction from the growing distance between him and Adobe. It wasn't long before Nkame's inbox began filling with direct messages from female acquaintances and strangers alike. At first, these messages were purely platonic, discussions about shared hobbies, friendly banter, and casual conversations. But as Adobe's online presence consumed more of her time, leaving Nkame feeling increasingly neglected, these harmless chats gradually evolved into flirtatious exchanges. Nkame rationalized that it was innocent fun, a way to fill the void left by Adobe's presence. He told himself it was harmless, that he would never act on these flirtations in real life. The compliments and attention he received from these women made him feel valued and appreciated, emotions that had been in short supply at home. The excitement of new connections and the thrill of secret interactions became a temporary escape from his marital frustrations. However, as the exchanges grew more intimate, Nkame found himself slipping further into a web of deception. He started hiding his phone, guarding his online activities from Adobe. Each DM, each flirtatious comment pulled him deeper into a world that was becoming increasingly difficult to justify. The lines between innocent fun and emotional infidelity blurred, creating a chasm of secrets and lies. Nkame knew deep down that this path was dangerous, but the attention and validation were intoxicating. In his quest to fill the emotional gap left by Adobe's preoccupation with her career, Nkem was unknowingly sowing the seeds of further discord. The temptation of DMs were leading him away from the very foundation of trust and honesty that his marriage depended on, setting the stage for more significant challenges ahead. Adobe, although deeply engrossed in her career, started to sense Nkem's growing distance. He was no longer as enthusiastic about appearing in her social media posts, often finding excuses to avoid the camera. His laughter, once a staple of their relationship, had become infrequent, and he seemed perpetually distracted. Adobe noticed him spending more time on his phone, often with a guarded look whenever she approached, the unease gnawed at her, but she tried to dismiss it, attributing his behavior to work stress or personal hobbies. However, one evening, as she was organizing her work emails, Adobe accidentally opened Nkem's messaging app on their shared tablet. Her heart sank as she read through a conversation between Nkem and another woman, the exchange clearly more than just friendly. The playful banter and intimate tone were unmistakable. Feeling a mix of betrayal and anger, Adobe confronted Nkem that very night. The confrontation quickly escalated into a heated argument with emotions running high. Nkem, caught off guard and defensive, accused Adobe of neglecting their relationship for her online fame. Adobe retorted, accusing him of seeking solace in the attention of other women instead of communicating his feelings to her. Each accusation was met with another, both trying to shift the blame for the growing chasm between them. The argument revealed the deep-seated frustrations and unmet needs on both sides. Adobe felt unappreciated and overburdened by the demands of her career, while Nkem felt ignored and sidelined. Trust, the very foundation of their marriage, was beginning to erode, replaced by doubt and resentment. The betrayal Adobe felt was profound, and Nkem, despite his attempts to justify his actions, knew he had crossed a line. In the aftermath of their argument, the house felt colder, the silence heavier. Both were left reflecting on their actions and the hurtful words exchanged. The warning signs were clear. If they didn't address these issues head-on, their marriage could crumble. The path to reconciliation seemed daunting. But the alternative, a life without the love they once cherished, was even more so. Realizing they were on a destructive path, Nkem and Adobe decided to seek help. The constant arguments, feelings of neglect, and the underlying tensions had reached a breaking point. Both recognized that without intervention, their marriage might not survive. With heavy hearts and a glimmer of hope, they agreed to attend couples therapy. Their first session was tense, filled with nervous energy and the weight of unspoken grievances. The therapist, a calm and empathetic woman named Dr. Amara, welcomed them warmly and encouraged them to speak openly. She assured them that this was a safe place, a place to air their thoughts and feelings without judgment. Nkem was the first to open up, confessing how Adobe's increasing focus on her online persona made him feel neglected and invisible. He explained how his venture into flirtatious online conversations was a misguided attempt to seek the attention and validation he craved. Adobe listened, her eyes brimming with tears as she heard the depth of his loneliness for the first time. Adobe then shared her side, explaining the immense pressure she felt to maintain her online presence and the financial stability it brought them. She admitted that in her pursuit of success, she had unintentionally sidelined Nkem and their relationship. The constant need to be available online had taken a toll on her too, leaving her exhausted and disconnected. Dr. Amara helped them see how their online habits were impacting their real-life relationship. She pointed out that while social media had its benefits, it should never come at the expense of personal connections. She guided them to set boundaries for their social media usage, suggesting designated times for phone-free activities and encouraging them to establish routines that prioritized their time together. The therapist also introduced them to communication exercises, teaching them how to express their needs and feelings without blaming or criticizing each other. They learned to listen actively and empathetically, to validate each other's experiences and emotions. Slowly, they began to rebuild their connection, one honest conversation at a time. Nkem and Adobe left each session feeling a bit more hopeful, a bit more connected. They started to rediscover the joy of simply being with each other without the constant interruption of screens. They took up new hobbies together, went on long walks, and made it a point to have regular date nights where they could talk and laugh, just like they used to. The path to healing was not easy, and there were setbacks along the way, but with Dr. Amara's guidance and their mutual commitment to making the marriage work, Nkem and Adobe began to see a brighter future. They learned that while social media could be a powerful tool, their love and connection in the real world were far more valuable and worth fighting for. Determined to save their marriage, Nkem and Adobe committed to spending quality time together without the intrusion of social media. They began by planning weekly date nights, each taking turns to surprise the other with creative and thoughtful activities. Whether it was a cozy dinner at home, a movie night under the stars, or picnics, these moments helped them reconnect and rekindle the spark that had brought them together. Adobe made a conscious effort to balance her career and personal life, setting strict boundaries for her online activities. She allocated specific times for social media, ensuring that her evenings were reserved for Nkem. This shift allowed her to be more present, both physically and emotionally, making Nkem feel valued and included once more. Together, they took short trips to nearby destinations, exploring new places and creating shared memories. These gateways provided a much-needed escape from their routine and the pressures of their careers. They also engaged in activities that strengthened their bond, such as cooking together, hiking, and even simple walks around their neighborhood, hand in hand rediscovering the joy of each other's company. Through these efforts, Nkem and Adobe began to rebuild the trust and intimacy that had been eroded. They learned to appreciate the little things, the moments of laughter, the shared glances, and the quiet comfort of being together. Their renewed commitment to each other and their marriage brought them closer than ever, proving that love, when nurtured, can withstand the challenges of the modern world. Despite their efforts, as the saying goes, old habits die hard. A viral scandal involving a fellow influencer drew Adobe back into the whirlwind of online drama. An unexpected controversy erupted when one of her close associates was accused of unethical practices, and by association, Adobe found herself in the eye of the storm. Her focus shifted once again to managing her public image and responding to the crisis. She spent long hours crafting statements, engaging with her followers, and coordinating with her PR team to mitigate the damage. Nkem watched as Adobe was consumed by the online frenzy. Their weekly date nights became less frequent. The trips they had enjoyed so much were postponed indefinitely. The intimate conversations that had started to rebuild their connection were replaced by Adobe's constant worry about her career and reputation. Feeling neglected and isolated once more, Nkem fell back into his pattern of engaging in online flirtations. He sought solace in the validation and attention of other women, using their admiration as a crutch to cope with his feelings of abandonment. The cycle of neglect and betrayal that they had worked so hard to break re-emerged with a vengeance. Arguments flared up again, and the fragile trust they had begun to rebuild seemed to crumble with each passing day. Adobe, overwhelmed by her professional crisis, failed to notice the signs of Nkem's relapse until it was too late. The progress they had made was threatened, as both felt trapped in a vicious loop of emotional unavailability and infidelity. The tension between them grew, casting a dark shadow over their once promising efforts to heal and move forward together. The breaking point came one evening when Adobe, in a rare moment of downtime, stumbled upon explicit messages between Nkem and another woman on his phone. The betrayal was too much for her to bear. Devastated and furious, she confronted Nkem, who, despite his attempts to explain and apologize, could not deny the gravity of his actions. Adobe felt her world shatter as she packed her bags and moved to her sister's house, seeking solace and space to process her emotions. The separation was a wake-up call for Nkem. Alone in their once vibrant home, he was forced to reflect on his actions and the patterns that had led them to this point. He realized that his need for attention and validation should have been met within his marriage, not from strangers online. The pain of Adobe's absence made him confront the depth of his mistakes and the damage they had caused to the person he loved most. Adobe, staying with her sister, also took the time to reevaluate what she truly wanted. The love she had for Nkem was still there, buried under layers of hurt and betrayal. She contemplated their journey, the highs and the lows, and the dreams they had once shared. The space allowed her to understand that both she and Nkem had contributed to their marital woes, and that any path to reconciliation would require a commitment to change from both sides. After weeks of soul-searching, Nkem reached out to Adobe with a heartfelt apology and a promise to change. His message was sincere, expressing deep remorse for his actions and a genuine desire to rebuild their marriage. He acknowledged his faults and assured her that he was willing to do whatever it took to regain her trust. Adobe, though hurt, still loved her husband and agreed to give their marriage another chance. Recognizing that their bond was worth fighting for, they established new rules for their social media use, ensuring that their online presence would never again overshadow their real-life relationship. They agreed to keep their phones away during personal time, to engage in meaningful conversations daily, and to prioritize activities that strengthen their connection. Adobe balanced her career with their relationship by delegating more responsibilities to her team, freeing up time to focus on Nkem and their shared life. Slowly but surely, they rebuilt the trust that had been broken. Nkem joined Adobe in some of her online activities, fostering a shared understanding of each other's worlds. They also revisited their interests and passions, rediscovering the joy of shared experiences. With open communication and mutual respect, they navigated the challenges of social media, setting boundaries that protected their marriage from external pressures. Each day brought new opportunities to reinforce their commitment to each other. Nkem and Adobe emerged stronger, ready to face the future together, united by a love that had been tested but ultimately endured.